15.7 trillion naira at the end of December 2018.
Senior Democrats have responded by accusing AIN of committing a gross offense.
The All Progressives Congress has vowed to punish the Ogun State Governor, Ibikule Amosu.
Welcome to Celebration Television News Desk. My name is Kweta Belis and thank you for joining us. Now the news making the headlines. On the local scene, the hunger for God is glaring as September Fire and Miracle Night begins. Contractors debt stalled 4 billion naira communications project, says the federal government. On the foreign scene, Saudi Arabia to open up to foreign tourists with new visas. On business, CBN says 1.1 million jobs created through agri-intervention. And on sports, Waffle Cup Eagles B arrived Dakar to face Togo in opener. And Egypt votes void because of capital letters, says the FIFA. The details of that news after the break. Welcome back. On the local scene, the hunger for God is glaring as September Fire and Miracle Night begins. With glamour and melody, everyone seems very happy to have come to the end of another glorious month, which doesn't just go empty, but with a special packed Fire and Miracle Night with the Restoration Apostle Johnson and Dr. Lizzie Suleiman. Fire and Miracle Night is always the crowning program every last Friday of the month to give glory to God and to offer the sacrifice of praying without ceasing. And today, Friday, 27 September 2019, embraces another for the year. As Apostle Johnson Suleiman will always say, the best time to handle situation is the night time. God's presence silences all matters. Via deep revelations, hear what Apostle Johnson Suleiman says concerning the presence of God.
In Isaiah chapter 63 verse 9, the Bible talks about the angel of his presence. There's an angel called the angel of his presence. The duty of that angel is to generate the presence of God. In Psalm 68 verse 2, he says, what melt before the fire, so let the wicked melt before our God. In Psalm 68 verse 8, he said, the earth dropped and the heaven shook at the presence of God. In Acts chapter 3 verse 19, he said, the time of refreshing shall come from the presence of our God.
Now, being in the presence of God is always refreshing. Fire and Miracle Night is a time of intimacy, sweet fellowship, and reconciliation with the Heavenly Father, the Maker of all. Still on the local scene, Jehovah still in the business of healing holy. Tomorrow, Saturday, 28 September 2019, is Jehovah the Doctor with Apostle Johnson Suleiman, as God told Apostle Johnson Suleiman that whenever he is praying for the sick, he will always be there. It has never ceased to be true. The senior pastor of Omega Fire Ministries, Apostle Suleiman, is a vessel through which God's wonders are seen. However, going through times, God has been working diverse miracles. The lame walk, the blind see, the deaf hear, and all that had one infirmity, challenge, or the other received completeness. God is still in the business of healing. Take a look at this.
No other name is like the name of Jesus. No other name is like the name. Father, show him mercy.
Papa, there is healing power here.
Name, mind restored.
The healing power of God can never be taken for granted as God's people from different parts of the world come to see Jesus at work. It doesn't just stop there. Souls are drawn to the kingdom. Now, still on the local scene, ABU fires 16 workers for sexual harassment and others. Authorities of the Ahmadu Bello University in Zaria, Kaduna State on Thursday fired 15 lecturers for offenses bordering on sexual harassment, negligence of duty, and corruption. It was gathered that the lecturers were from different departments and faculties in the institution. A source said it is true that the Ahmadu Bello University management sacked some lecturers. When contacted, the director of ABU's public affairs, Dr. Samaila Shehu, confirmed the dismissal. Shehu added, not all of them are lecturers, but they are ABU staff members. A total of 16 workers were affected by this. Their offenses for mishandling record script for sexual harassment and assault. Now, still on the local scene, contractors dead stalled 4 billion naira communication project, says the federal government. The federal government on Thursday told the House of Representatives that the death of 2 principal partners was responsible for the non-completion of contracts worth 4.179 billion naira awarded to the installation of radio monitoring equipment and other services. The Director, Radio Monitoring and Survey, Federal Ministry of Communication, Mr. Kiyobas Binga, who appeared before the ad hoc committee set up to investigate abandoned projects in the communication sector, said the Federal Executive Council on March 17, 2002 approved the contract for the supply, installation, and commissioning of the radio monitoring and national spectrum management system. Binga said the contracts were awarded to Mercy Capital Communications Limited and Codem Incorporated of the United States for the sum of $34,083,044,037, which he said had not been executed by the time the principal partner of the firm died. He said while $28.4 million was the actual contract sum, the cost of finance was $6.78 million, bringing the total sum of $34 million. Binga said the FEC had said the contract should be paid 15% down payment, so the 15% for the offshore component was $4.2 million, 15% down payment for the onshore 41.4 naira, 1,177 naira was the total amount of the contractors were paid up to the time the project was abandoned in 2008. 200 million naira was the last amount that was paid to the contractor in the process of documentation to produce the contract agreement. The principal member of one of the partners of the project, Alhaji Dan Kabo, unfortunately died shortly after that contract was awarded. The director, who stated that the contract was characterized by controversies as the ownership of the project, added the contractor refused to honor the agreement in Schedule 3 of the contract. The ministry raised concerns that the contractors did not yield. And now, coming up next is news from the foreign scene. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Shout Jesus! Out! 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 Fire all over you! difference between powers and power. In Luke 10:19, Jesus said, I give unto you power over the powers. Aragasaga, engaragasaga, entaguanatopiade. Anna Christine.
Yes.
That's your name?
Yes.
There is miracle power here. Miracle! 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 Miracle!
Fire and Miracle Night.
Now, welcome back onto the news from the foreign scene. Saudi Arabia to open up to foreign tourists with new visas. Saudi Arabia will open its doors to international tourists for the first time as a part of a border push to curb its economic dependence on oil. On Friday, the kingdom will launch a visa regime for 49 countries and relax strict dressing code for female visitors. Tourism Minister Ahmad Al-Khatib described it as a historic moment for the country. Visas have until now largely been restricted to pilgrims, business people and expatriate workers. Saudi Arabia is also hoping to secure foreign investment in the tourism industry. It wants tourism to raise from 3% to 10% of the gross domestic product by 2030. Now, still on the foreign scene, Dominic Cummings' anger to MPs not surprising, MPs advisor says. It is not surprising there are anger directed at MPs over Brexit, the PM's advisor Dominic Cummings has said. The former Vote Leave chief said the only way the issue of abuse will be solved is if MPs respect the result of the EU referendum. Take a look at this.
That tone of language the Prime Minister is using is going down well in constituencies like mine. I've had death threats overnight. I should be dead. It's a disgrace. How did you get Brexit? I've had 3 opportunities to get Brexit to raise the VSD. And if I could have voted for it, I would have voted for it. Don't tell me to get Brexit done. The Prime Minister should be there negotiating a deal to bring back for me to support. Don't tell me to get Brexit done. The tone of your language has been appalling.
Mr. Cummings' remark came after Boris Johnson defended language he used in Parliament amid criticism from MPs. The parliamentary tensions have led 120 archbishops and bishops to warn against further entrenching our divisions. The intervention followed an ill-tempered debate on Wednesday as the MPs returned to Parliament after the Supreme Court ruled the suspension of Parliament was unlawful. The Prime Minister was criticized by a number of MPs for, among other remarks, describing one Labour MP safety concern as humbug and repeatedly referring to legislation aimed at blocking No Deal as the surrender bill. Now, on business news, CBN says 1.1 million jobs created through agri intervention. The details of that news after the break. Now, welcome back from the world of business. CBN says 1.1 million jobs created through agric intervention. The Central Bank of Nigeria on Thursday said it had created a total of 1.13 million jobs along the various agricultural value chains. It said through its various interventions in the sector, capacity utilization of agro-allied companies had also been increased. The Director of Corporate Communications Department of the CBN, Mr. Isaac Okorafor, said this at the CBN Special Day during the Abuja International Trade Fair. At a similar event, the Nigerian Deposit Insurer Corporation said a total of 116.26 billion naira had been paid to depositors for failure of financial institution. Okorafor said that the jobs were created through the bank's commercial agricultural credit scheme that began in 2009 to fast-track the development of the agricultural sector. The scheme provided credit facilities to commercial agricultural enterprises at a single-digit interest rate. Represented by the Deputy Director CCD, Mrs. Veronica Aqua, he said that a total of 255 private firms, 14 state governments and 1.14 million farmers had benefited from the CBN Anchor Borrowers Program. He said the farmers benefited from the ABP in the production of 17 different agricultural products. He said the Apex Bank was implementing various initiatives to empower the youths. Now, still on business news, SON urges importers to venture into manufacturing. The Standards Organization of Nigeria has asked importers to venture into manufacturing in order to create wealth and job opportunities for the nation's teeming unemployed youths. The Director General of the SON, Osita Aboluma, said this at a one-day sensitization program with importers and dealers of electronics in Alaba International Market, Lagos. The Director General, who was represented by the Director Inspectorate and Compliance Directorate, Obiora Manafa, reiterated that they must shun importing substandard products into the country, adding that adhering to standards was the surest way to bring back glorious days of the market. Aboluma also warned them against faking established brands and advised them to build their own brands, which will bring them prosperity and save the nation of a lot of foreign exchange. He said the role manufacturing sector plays in economic development cannot be underestimated. We are advising you as importers and dealers to venture into manufacturing. This is the only way to create wealth and job opportunities for the nation's teeming unemployed youths. Aboluma said the fight against substandard products was a big one, adding that a lot of people were in detention for dealing in substandard products to serve as a deterrent and to importers who had intentions to indulge in the nefarious act. He informed the importers and dealers that organization will approach the court to get an order to destroy substandard cables it had in its warehouse, restating its commitment to bringing down the influx of substandard goods into the country. Now on sports, Wafu Cup, Eagles B arrived Dakar to face Togo in opener. The details of that news after the break.
of Jesus. Out, 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 fire all over you. There's a difference between powers and power. In Luke 10:19, Jesus said, I give unto you power over the powers. Ragasaga, Engaragasaga, Entaguanatopiade. Anna Christine.
Yes.
That's your name?
Yes.
There is miracle power here. Miracle! 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 Miracle!
Fire and Miracle Night.
Welcome back to Sport News. Wafu Cup Eagles B arrived Dakar to face Togo in Opuna. Nigeria's home-based senior players have arrived in Dakar, capital of Senegal, for the second Wafu Fox Cup of Nations, starting in the Senegalese city of Thiers on Saturday, September 28. A team of 21 players and 6 officials flew by Air Côte d'Ivoire early on Thursday morning from Abuja to Abidjan and then connected the Senegalese capital by the same airline. Nigeria silver medalist at the inaugural edition staged in Cape Coast, Ghana 2 years ago will play against Togo in their first match of the competition at the Stade Lat Dior Thiers on Sunday. It is an opportunity come quickly for the Eagles to avenge their 4-1 lashing by the Hawks in the 2020 Africa Nations Championship qualifying match in Lomé last Sunday. Victory over the Sparrows in the first elimination round will take the Eagles to the second phase before the semi-finals and the finals. The tournament ends on October 13th. All 16 participating teams will partake in the first elimination round, with host nation Senegal up against Guinea-Bissau, Burkina Faso against Mauritania, Ivory Coast against Cape Verde, and Guinea against Benin Republic. Still on sports, Egyptian votes void because of capital letters, says the FIFA. 2 votes for Mohamed Salah in the Best FIFA Men's Player Award were not counted because signatures were in capital letters, saying the FIFA. The Egyptian Football Association said acting Egypt coach Shoki Garib and captain Ahmed El Mohammadi voted for Liverpool forward Salah. FIFA said the signatures on the voting forms were in capital letters and thus seemed not valid. The forms also lacked a mandatory signature by the EFA General Secretary. Barcelona's Lionel Messi won the award on Monday ahead of Juventus forward Cristiano Ronaldo and Liverpool defender Virgil van Dijk. Since the award ceremony, Salah has removed Egypt from his Twitter profile, which now reads "Footballer for Liverpool FC." He also posted a tweet which translates as "Whatever they do to try to change my love for Egypt, they will not succeed." Egyptian Football Association President Ami El Ghani said he talked with Salah. He said, "I talked with Salah, explained to him it was an administrative mistake." Nicaragua captain Juan Barrera called into question the authenticity of his country's votes in the awards, as he said he did not submit any votes. FIFA's record showed that Barrera voted for Lionel Messi as best player and Liverpool Juven Club as best manager. I did not vote in the awards. Hashtag the best 2019. Any information about my vote is false. 30 years old midfielder Barrera tweeted. And lastly, on sports, CAF changes AFCON Under-23 draw date. The Under-23 team of Nigeria will find out their group opponents for the Africa Cup of Nations Egypt 2019 tournament on Wednesday, October 2nd at the Haramek Palace inside the historic Montaza Complex, Alexandria. The draw, which was supposed to take place initially on October 3rd, was brought forward a day ahead following a decision taken in consultation with the local organizing committee, which was due to logistic reasons. The 8 teams host Egypt, Nigeria, Cameroon, Ivory Coast, Ghana, Mali, South Africa, and Zambia will know the identity of their opponents as the iconic 19th century palace. CAF in a statement said the representative of the qualified teams are expected to be in attendance for the event that will set the tone for the final tournament scheduled for November 8th to 22nd. The Egyptian capital, Cairo, will host all games with matches at the Cairo International Stadium and Al Salam Stadium. Now, before the recap of the headlines, let's see the weekend fixtures. Okay, that's what we have for you on Celebration Television News Desk. If you're just joining us, here is a recap of the news making the headlines. On the local scene, the hunger for God is glaring as September Fire Miracle Night begins. Contractors' debt stalled 4 billion naira communications project, says the federal government. From the foreign scene, Saudi Arabia to open up to foreign tourists with new visas. On business news, CBN says 1.1 million jobs created through agri intervention. And on sports, Wafu Cup, Eagles B arrived Dakar to face Togo in opener, and Egyptian votes void because of capital letter, says the FIFA. You can follow us on our social media platforms. On Facebook, we are Celebration TV. On Instagram, we are My Celebration TV. On Twitter, we are at My Celebration TV. And on YouTube, www.youtube.com/Celebration TV. Thank you for joining us. My name is Kweta Belis, and have a great weekend.
To 15.7 trillion naira at the end of December 2019.
Senior Democrats have responded by accusing AIM of committing a gross offence.
The All Progressives Congress has vowed to punish the Ogun State Governor, Ibikule Amosu.